Yeah. And I think it's funny because vets are. We've had this conversation that it's a tight social group. I mean, obviously, it's a very unique experience that no one else can relate to. So you end up being very social. So actually, I think I was connected to you by Charlie, Matt, that whole team, and those relationships. It's been fun. So hey, Jesse, you've got an Airbnb, and I want to have you on because this is an Airbnb that you have that's not local here in the Houston area. So you've got that experience, and you've had it a while now. So how tell folks about this Airbnb and how that's gone for you.
Yeah, I mean, so in essence, really, like I was actually looking into the Airbnb game here in the Houston area before I actually decided to jump ship and partner with my parents and whatnot and do the Orlando one. It's a property very close to the Disney World area. At the time, we had tenants in the property that were in the process of moving out. And the numbers just made sense, right? After all the research I had done here in Houston, I figured, hey, close to Disney World, Universal, it's got a pool in the back. Like this could be an ideal property for us to go ahead and use for the Airbnb game. So kind of rolled into it with the limited amount of research that I had done, which would have been more conducive to doing it here in Houston. But we did it in Orlando instead. So went out there, drove to the property, fixed it all up, did some painting, got some cleaning done, some repairs done, and been going since last summer, June, July of last summer.
All right. So how's that been?
A roller coaster, right? I guess that's the only way to describe it. So we decided to go ahead and jump into the Airbnb game right before COVID hit and everything got shut down, right? So that was a bit of a hurdle in the beginning in terms of our expected returns, but the benefit was the location was still the location. And individuals who might not be going there particularly to the parks, whether it be Disney World, Universal, et cetera, we're still going there to vacation and to relax. The pool was a very, very big draw for us. So we've been able to go ahead and still see profit margins. Not as much as we were expecting, but definitely better than what we were having before with the rental.
Okay. So, because Florida had some unique restrictions, I don't know all the details. You do, but I think there were some restrictions on like how much space in between bookings and stuff like that, which made it challenging.
Yes, it was. So we had to restructure our calendar to abide by those bylaws. In fact, in order for you to go ahead and be able to get put on the first page, Airbnb required you to go through this little like tutorial and whatnot of what they were expecting. Once you do that, you get a little certification of, hey, you did it. And then we were able to go ahead and create those separations between guests so we can do cleaning via the Airbnb COVID protocols. So we can get a little badge that said that, hey, we're obliging by the Airbnb COVID protocols. So it definitely restricted our earning potential. But at the end of the day, like during a pandemic, it just made the most sense to make sure that all the guests were being taken care of and there were no possible cases of transmission from previous guests. So we understood and definitely were glad to oblige.
And guests were happy to stay, and they were even happier whenever they saw extra precautions being taken because they couldn't do anything else. Like, people wanted to get away.
This is true. They were still kind of limited.
But now we're pretty much back to normal. How's it been performing, and how are you mitigating? I'm sure that there's still operational hiccups that come in. How are you mitigating that?
It's been great. We're actually booked out right now through the end of the year already. We actually have put a cap on rentals going into January. Right now, you'll be very, very hard pressed to find 2 days of free space between now and December for the property. As Disney World's opening back up and Universal Studios opening back up, we're seeing a huge influx of guests pouring in. So yes, it was doing good before, but we're about to go ahead and see what it's truly capable of over this, I guess, the second half of this year. But yes, it's booking pretty fast right now.
That's absolutely crazy. During the summer, I know we get a lot of advanced bookings. Nothing like that, but we don't have Disney World.
It's a bit of an advantage. I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit of an advantage.
Well, do you plan on buying more Airbnbs or what's the plan?
Yes, actually, right now I've been self-managing the one that we currently have in Orlando. Very, very time consuming, especially with real estate transactions going on here. We have a wholesale business as well as a couple of flips going on here in the Houston area. So it's been challenging to go ahead and juggle all that. Of course, the traditional real estate side as well. But right now, we're looking to go ahead and jump into it. One of my partners at Inspired Properties is on board with potentially buying a couple of deals when he gets here in the next month or so. We're going to be looking at a couple of business plans to acquire some in the Woodlands area and closer to downtown. So yes, it's a very profitable business model, and we're definitely going to be digging deeper into it second half of this year.
And when you're all looking at those, are you all going to be looking at, because I've always said that, and I said it earlier, like this whole platform, one, it's not new. I mean, vacation rental's been around forever, but the platform gives the average person the ability to put pretty much any property on, but it gives us investors the ability to make money out of a property that otherwise wouldn't necessarily be a good deal for a long-term rental.
Exactly. It's created another.
It's your McDonald's stand. Like you get to buy the most expensive real estate in the world, not literally, but just really nice properties. Turn it into a business. Let people pay down, but you own the asset. So are you targeting? Because V mentioned she's got a place in Spring, and I don't know the price point of that, but Spring's just it's your typical suburban type community. But you mentioned the Woodlands. Woodlands is a huge community, but it's also a hot spot. And then downtown's downtown. What type of properties are y'all targeting?
We're targeting single family residences. I know a lot of individuals, that I've mentors of mine, friends of mine that are in the game, and they're using apartments, or they're doing the subleasing aspect, and they're doing very well for themselves. One of the things that we want to kind of cater to is being able to control the environment throughout. So as such, by not having specific bylaws by the apartment complex or a townhouse or specific developments, a single family residence is obviously going to have the HOA requirements, but it allows us to go ahead and cater to more type of events, right? So we want to get to a point to where it's also feasible that individuals who look at our properties want to use them for corporate events. I actually that was one of our best months in Orlando. There was, I guess, an elderly nursing school that took a bunch of their students to Orlando, right? To go ahead and I'm not sure what they're doing there, whether it was just having some fun or whatever the case might be, but they booked it up for an entire month. That was definitely the best month we've had when it came to the Airbnb. So it got me looking more so into, okay, well, how can we go ahead and make sure we have enough properties that not only fit the Airbnb model, but might fit the Vrbo model, where the Vrbo aspect is more traditional companies leasing out properties in order for them to go ahead and do events, hold events. And so we're looking into that right now moving forward. But the Woodlands and the Houston area, based off of the data we've pulled from the individuals I know who have properties in those areas, they're doing extremely well. Very extremely well. So,
and from a long-term perspective, like the whole Texas market, but especially Houston, you're looking good.
Yes. Yes.